I don't even. Hello. I don't know if this is gonna be an intro or not, but this has been a struggle, and it's been a good struggle. This week, I'm in the military. In case you didn't know. By the way, let's be happy right now because this is literally the first visual podcast that I'm making, and I'm so excited. Like the amount of stuff I've had to do to get here is crazy. And I'm thankful I take on the challenge. When doing these things like this, where you find a sense of purpose in them, understand it is going to be hard. You're going to struggle. You're going to want to give up. Understand that the things that try to break you will make you. This week, since Sunday, we left on Sunday to go all the way to the other side of South Korea. Right here, we are in Area 1. We had to go all the way to Area 4. South Korea is a country. So we're at the beginning of the country, and we had to travel all the way to the end. That's like 6 hours. So, I didn't know what this podcast episode... First of all, I just started talking. I didn't even introduce myself. Welcome back to NTheRealestWay podcast with Marqes Smith, where we talk about so many topics in the realest way. On this podcast episode, we're just going to talk about topics. I don't know, whatever comes to mind. This is the first one. This is season 2. I like to do things in certain ways to where the first part of this, of the first season 1 was different. It was something new. Like, it was its own thing. I want season 2 to be its own thing too. Like, let them be together but different, if that makes sense. And the first thing that came to mind was the fact that I was struggling so much this week. You know, we talk about how healing is not linear. That when we go through things in life, you're gonna heal from things. You're gonna, go through things and think you got past it, and that those things no longer bother you. Certain things that irritated you, they don't irritate you no more. And I want to say this to myself and to other people. It's not as simple as that. When I came and I traveled and I got irritated, I was tested. God tested me. I was put through so many trials, so many things I had to go through this week of, okay, you think you healed from this. Okay, well, let me put this in the forefront and see if you can handle it. Healing is not linear. I had to face so many things I thought I was done with. I thought I matured. Next thing you know, I'm cussing people out. I'm arguing with people. I'm draining myself. And I had to learn, just because you're never going to get done doing something until you are completely tired of it. People don't change just because of the heck of it. Something moved them to change. Does that make sense? You have to be so tired of who you are right now to become somebody differently. To take that step to become somebody differently. This bed is shaking so much. Jesus, And I was talking to somebody on the way back from where we were at, 6 hours away from where we were, and we had that much time to talk, and I learned so much about them for myself, understanding that. And just in this podcast, I would say, like, for instance, I can't do this without this. I can't become successful. I can't record a podcast episode visually because this happened and this happened. The first podcast episode I made was with Green. And I don't know if that one's going to get posted because when we did it in the day room. People kept opening the door. This was happening. This was happening. All these things were causing issues. We were recording the audio and I didn't even press play. We just sitting here talking and I didn't even press play. We had to start all the way over. Then we get past that. We get to the end of the podcast. We get the cameras and everything. We say, okay, we done. I saved the audio. He tells me the camera wasn't even recording. It was these things that frustrated me, they upset me, and it was a test from God. I had to understand, these people, B. Simone, you look back at B. Simone when she first started, people, you have to start somewhere. Be realistic. I was making my life so unrealistic, and I love a good delusion. I love to be delusional. We need delusion in our lives, but healthy delusion, okay? Don't be sitting here expecting everything to be perfect. It's not going to be perfect. If you're waiting for anything to be perfect, you're going to be waiting for the rest of your life. You're going to be waiting. You will never get anything done because it's not perfect. I wanted it a certain way. I didn't even want to record in the day room. I wanted to record in my room. I'm waiting for my couch to come. You know how long I've been waiting for that couch to come before I made a visual podcast? I had to tell myself, it's not going to come. It's not going to come right now. So what are we going to do? Are we going to just stop? Are we just going to let all that we want to do and everything that we want to go through, we're just going to stop it just because one thing didn't happen? Well, I was telling myself, I want it to be this way. I want it to be that way. It's never going to be perfect. It's never going to be perfect. And that's what people too. That's what goals that you want. People aren't going to be who you want them to be. Understand that. Accept them for who they are. Sometimes I realize how much of a hypocrite I can be. And recently I was it wasn't a long relationship. It was no more than, the relationship didn't even really start yet. But I would, I always, in any relationship, I always thought that I was the person who, it was never my fault. Friendships too. I never thought it was me that was causing these issues. I always was like, oh, well, it's this person, it's that person. Recently, I had a conversation with somebody I was in romantic with, and I brought up an issue of just trust and how so much of my life I was used to chaos and, having to be in the forefront and fighting for the relationship while this person wasn't doing anything for it. And I brought that up to his attention, and instead of accepting it as a chance to grow together, it was something that was shunned. And why would you bring this up? Why you're damaging the relationship? These types of things. And I'm not going to get too much into it, but never feel like you have to not speak about something. Never feel like what you say and what you're going through doesn't matter. Because people want to live in a delusion. And I'm this person, I care. I care a lot. That relationship, I did care a lot. I really did. But I'm quick. I'm not easily, ready to drop somebody. But I'm not going to sit here and I'm not going to waste my time on somebody who is already looking to misunderstand me. If you're going into any kind of relationship already trying to misunderstand them, you've already lost. I've lost numerous times in relationships here because I'm expecting this person. I'm waiting for this person to say something that I already want them to say in a negative way. And when people do it to me, it's like, okay, well, that's not even actually what it is. But this person was taking every opportunity that they had to misunderstand me. Do not be around people. There's so many people in this world. Do not be around people you feel like you have to be understood by. You don't have to make them understand you. People who understand you are going to understand you. And not in every example, not in every way, they're not going to. Sometimes they do have to need an explanation. But for the being of who you are, you shouldn't have to fight to be understood. It shouldn't be something. And I had to tell somebody, I was talking to them, why do I have to walk on eggshells in friendships and relationships? Why do I have to be on my tippy toes? Why does everything, I can't say this because I might hurt them. When really and truly, I'm just around the wrong people. I'm around the wrong people. There's some people I'm around, they understand me. I'm not sitting here worrying about, well, what about this? What about that? Be around people who are like-minded like you. There was this conversation with, you can be friends with anybody. You could, what they decide to do with their life, it doesn't affect you. And that is literally the opposite. If I consider you a friend, we have the same values, the same morals. We believe the same things. So why is it so much so that it's an issue when you want to apply that to other people? If you're friends with a cheater, how do you think that's not affecting you? You're allowing your friend to cheat on their spouse, and you think that has nothing to do with you? It's their relationship. It has nothing to do with me. How they see that relationship is how they see any relationship. And of course, it's not exactly the same. It's not exactly the same. But in terms of respect, living in your truth, cheating comes down to truth. Are you honest? I'm not ready to be in a relationship. I'm not ready to be monogamous. You're not being honest. And if you're not going to be honest in that relationship, you're not going to be honest in another one. No matter what type of relationship it is. These things matter. Back when I made all these podcasts on my phone, I was making podcast episodes on my phone. One of the podcast episodes was, it really matters. The company you keep, what they do outside, not just with you. It really matters. All this stuff. And I know this podcast is so random and it's like so all over the place. This is something new for me. And even when I made 15 podcast episodes before this, it was new. This is new. This is my first visual podcast episode. And when talking to people that have succeeded and have had success in their life, they always told me, you have to start somewhere. If it's not now, when is it going to be? It's never going to be the right opportunity. It's never going to be the right time. You just take that chance and you grow. I had so many reasons to give up. So many excuses to say I was done. Wrap all of this up. Wrap all the equipment I spent money on. Put it all up and put it away. Just give up. When are you going to be the person in your life? And I was telling them, if you don't do it, if you don't put forth the effort, if you're not giving it your all, who's going to do it for you? Nobody's going to go as hard as you for you than you. And I can say that again. Nobody's going to go as hard for you than you. Yeah, you're going to have people who support you, people who care. But at the end of the day, nobody's sitting here pressing play on my audio, making sure the video is working, making sure I have lighting and the audio is okay. I'm doing this. And of course, once you get to a level of success, you can mitigate and give it to other people. But even then, if I'm not sitting here talking, this ain't my podcast. This is their podcast. You have to have a sense of responsibility, a sense of ownership of who and what you want to do. This is everything is hard. Me laying in my bed watching YouTube instead of making a podcast episode is hard. It's everything, anything that you do is hard. Not going to the gym, deciding to be unhealthy. It's hard. Going to the gym, being consistent and being disciplined. It's hard. But what do you want to choose? What do you want to have in your life? I tell you, moving and living in Korea, it has been an eye-opener. I can't even think back to high school and actually remember who I was really. It feels like I was born into another life, and This version of me is somebody totally different. I came here and I didn't know who I was. As soon as I thought all the success and all the accomplishments I had in high school, as soon as I came here, it's not to say that none of that mattered, but that person who I was, they no longer serve me for who I am right now. I had lessons, I had experiences that I got to have, but the version that I came here with, it was the person who needed me and still needs me. I've been tested like no other. And everything I asked God for, everything that I said I wanted, I eventually got it. Just in a way to where God said, okay, you want this? Okay, I'll give it to you. But everything is not greener on the other side. You think that everything is better. And I used to say, oh, I cannot wait to move out. I would want to live on the other side of the world. I used to say those things. Was craving and just ready to just be gone away from everybody I ever knew. Now I'm sitting here longing to be back. But I understand that this is a part of the journey. This is a part of who and where I'm needed to be. So when I move on in the future, I can be who I need to be then. But I have to be this person, no matter how uncomfortable. Right now, in my mind, I don't even know what's going on. Like, there is so much in my mind right now. But this version of me, this person who I am, it needs acknowledgement too. It does. And just because this version of you isn't shiny and I guess in other people's mind perfect, it's not the person you would want to show to other people. It needs that same love. It needs that same attention. Even the darkest versions of ourselves, they need that care. Do not shun it away. Because what happens to things that aren't taken care of? What happens when you disregard something that needed to be regarded? When you deny your emotions, when you don't allow yourself to feel and go through what you need to go through, you walk around angry. You walk around upset. There were times when I was in high school and middle school, I was angry. I didn't know why I was angry. I didn't have the proper tools to understand why I was so upset. I didn't know. I would cause problems. I would cause grief to people in my life who didn't deserve to be treated that way. I regret so many things. So many times when I did something out of hurt because I didn't want to admit that I was angry. I didn't want to admit that I was upset. And there are side effects to everything that you do, whether they're good or bad. And I use the simplest terminology for everything. The side effects of going to the gym is you'll see improvement in your body. You'll gain muscle. You'll lose fat. And that can be said for not taking care of your mental health, not being honest about what really bothers you. This has been an unimaginable. I never thought that I would be going through any of this. I never thought I would be experiencing any of this. I always said to God, I'll embrace anything that you give me, any challenge. And then I'm tested for the things that I want. Because in order to get what you want, what you know that you can have, you have to be tested for what you already have. There were times when I was so ungrateful for what I had, and I would wonder why I didn't have more. Why is God not giving me this? Why am I not getting what I want, what I deserve? Because you don't even take care of the things that you have now. Your body. You saying you want to do this, you want to do that. You're not even taking care of your mental health. You're not physically taking care of your body. You say you want all these things, but you're not taking care of what you have right now. God is giving me lessons. It's not punishment. It's not God is making you suffer. It's not about suffering. But when are you going to be the person? When are you going to be the version of who you want to be? You saying, and this is what a lot of people have been saying. If you want to become this person who can speak with eloquence, who can pronounce and pronunciate everything artistically and can say everything perfectly, you want to be that person? Okay. So do things that person does. They read every night before they go to sleep. They're listening to people who speak. They're doing the grammar. They're writing. They're doing everything. If you want to become a person that you want to become, you have to do the things that they do. You're not gonna have muscle if you're laying in your bed eating chips. You're not going to. You're not going to. You're not going to become a public speaker. You're not going to become a podcaster by watching people on YouTube play video games. You're not going to become who you want to be until you do the things that you need to do to become that person. Everybody wants success. It's about success. But what are you going to do in order to achieve that? And that was to myself too. How much am I willing to lose to gain? I made a whole podcast episode. How much are you willing to lose to gain and to become this person right here? You're going to have to lose parts of yourself that you didn't want to lose. There were times in the past I was like, this person is the person who got me to right here. Why would I lose this person? Why would I give up? Because that person no longer serves you. You have to embody, and I mean fully embody the person that you want to become. It's not going to come otherwise. It's not. Be honest, be truthful. There are people right here, right now, who have dreams, who have aspirations and goals in life, and they're deciding to be around people who tarnish that. They're deciding to do things that tarnish that. I'm all of my life, I didn't say that I didn't have friends, but I cared and I knew a lot of people. But not everybody, I didn't consider all people my friend. And the people who I was friends with, I seen ways and how they treated other people, things they did as red flags, and I just completely disregarded it. You say you want to have somebody around you who cares about you, who loves you, who appreciates your relationship, but you don't do that for yourself. You're hurting yourself by being around people who don't. So you'll never find those people until you are honest with yourself. It all starts with you. It's always you. At the end of the day, if Anybody decides to fall short on your purpose in life, what you believe in, who you are you going to be there holding yourself up with 100%? Are you going to be the person who, if anybody decided not to show up, you were going to be there regardless? You're not going to find that in your mom. Yes, it's good to have people who support you, but at the end of the day, this is you. And this is the main thing of this podcast episode. It's you. It has to be you. It's gotta be you. It's gotta be you. If it's not you, if you don't do it, if you don't take that first step, it's never gonna happen. I promise you. If I didn't have that conversation with that person, if they never said, well, when is it gonna happen? When are you gonna be the person who actually shows up for yourself? They told me, I didn't even know you had a podcast. Yeah, because this is what I told him. I don't want people around me who know me to listen to my podcast episodes. I'm just too shy. No, there's a friend who I was talking to about this, who I made the first visual podcast episode with, and it didn't work out. When they're out there, he's not shy to show out his brand. He's not embarrassed to show out for himself. He's not holding back. He's out there. Hey, this is my brand. This is my merch. This is what I do. He's out there supporting himself, and nobody's out there doing that for him. Nobody's out there giving out his flyers for him. He's out there doing that. When am I going to be the person for myself to show up? Excuses. We always have excuses. When are we going to let that be what it is, an excuse, and just do it? Yeah, this isn't how I want it, but what can I do now? I've been waiting so long for everything to be exactly how I want it to be, and it's never going to be that way. And if this is your first time watching my podcast, the main point in this podcast is to talk about topics in the realest way. Any experience. I could be talking about these things right now and it be in the realest way tomorrow, 2 weeks from now. Literally disregard all of it. Because we change, we become different people. This is what life is about: growing, failing and succeeding. Going through all of this stuff and understanding that you may not be the same person. You will not be the same person when you come out of the shadows of the darkness. You will not be that same person. Be okay with that change. As a summary, be okay with that change. Be okay with not knowing your next step. Where am I going to go? Who am I going to be? Don't worry about it. Be truthful to yourself. Be honest about your purpose in life and fulfill it in any means. Fulfill it. It's going to be hard. And if it was easy, everybody would be doing it. Everybody would be doing it. I'm really thankful that I'm proud of myself too, that I have the courage to do this, to get on this camera, get on this mic, set all this stuff up, no matter how frustrating it was, no matter how much I needed other people to support me. I did that for myself. Please, I promise you, you have to start with yourself. Go look at successful people who came from nothing. They had their ride or dies, yes, but at the end of the day, if they didn't take that chance, they wouldn't have become successful. Give your trust to God or whoever you believe in, to the universe. Give it up and become that person who you know you can be. But it starts with you. It starts with you. Like I say at the end of every podcast episode, I give thanks to the utmost, to the highest power, God. I'm thankful for my friends and my family. I'm thankful for the listeners and the watchers. I can finally say watchers of this podcast episode, of this podcast. I'm truly, truly grateful. Expect more from me, I promise. And every day you're going to see me becoming more and more comfortable with everything that I'm doing. This is In the Realest Way podcast, out.